Hello everybody! In this video I want to show you how I drew this dragon with graphite, so please stay tuned. As you can see, I already drew most of the skeleton and the other basic forms, and from here on I am making the lines that I'm gonna use, so the main lines, darker so that they're more clear and they stand out more than the help lines. I'm also erasing and correcting the old and confusing lines, especially with the neck. I'm correcting a little bit because it has to be consistent in 3D, and with both a bend and a 3/4 angle, that's a bit of a hassle. In the foot I'm drawing subcutaneous structures that will guide me with shading, so the shading will be in the right places regarding to the body. I'm not specifically talking about placement of the light source at this moment, even though it's especially important in scenery. I'm kind of neglecting it here. I'm also making sure that the tail is consistent, and again I'm darkening the lines that I'm going to use and erasing confusing lines. The wings are folded up at this moment, so the wing membrane also has to show these folds. And I move on to making the structures of the head a little bit more realistic, as they don't stay lines and circles. I'm defining the jaw a little bit more, and I want a beak-like mouth, not a broad one. So yeah, I'm making that more pointy. In the hind leg, I start building the muscles onto the basic form and defining the joints. And of course I will do the same in the front legs. To draw these ligaments, don't draw too straight. Your muscles have a base form, but they get thicker and thinner with movement. Especially this leg is a nice example of that. If you yourself lift your underarm, you see that your underarm gets a little bit thicker near the elbow. And now it's time to draw the details of the claws. So the nails kind of stick out of the skin, not sure how to describe it, but yeah, the base, that's still skin, folds around the nail, and this base just has to be a little bit wider than the nail itself. So yeah, I forgot a nail there and got distracted by something on the other front feet. So make sure that not every body part, in this case the nails, are on the same lines, as a different placement adds to the 3D effect. That's why you see that like the middle nail is placed lower than the other nails, and more obvious the front legs are placed lower on the paper than the hind legs. Okay, so let's define the fold of the wing membrane a little bit more. I'm really sorry, it's blurry. I don't know what happened. So I'm lining out like the deeper folds, but also the tops of the folds for creating a good shade. And there will be a nail or a claw on the base, on the wing joint of the wing, so we're also making a base for that. As you can see, I correct a lot in between and make some base forms even later in the process. I don't always know from the start how my drawings will end up, and sometimes you just come up with a thing and you try it, you draw it, and if you like it, it stays, and otherwise you erase it. So I decided that the skin on the belly and the tail will be a little bit different. So let's continue to line that out, add some details here and there. The tail is a little bit twisted, so yeah, like sometimes you see only the underside of it, and at some points you see both the underside and a little bit of either the right or the left side. And we're back to the claw. Of course, a claw has more than only one finger, toe, whatever you want to call it. So let's draw the other two. I'm a very messy artist. I go from body part 1 to 2 to 7 to 5. And I also forgot to make the outlines of the other hind leg that's a bit obscured, and it's actually a little bit difficult from time to time, as consistency is hard with obscured body parts. So the skin under the tail has like little inlets. I'm not sure how to call them, but let's go with inlets. And you have to make sure that these inlets like form with the bend in the tail, twist in the tail. And I continue with drawing some more skin folds and dips and bulges and structures in the skin. These tiny details actually can make a great difference in the realness of your drawing. And again, sorry that some parts of my drawing became out of the view. I decided I want her to have some spines or spikes along her neck, back and tail. So the spikes on the back are a little bit larger, and because there's a 3/4 view, the spikes obscure each other a little bit. They're a little bit in front of each other. And they vanish, or they're not visible on top of the tail, because we only see the underside and the right and left side a little bit of the tail. And I also decide that she has horns at the back of her head, and we draw these the same way as we draw the nails, so they kind of protrude from the skin, and they have a skin base at the skull side, which is a little bit wider than the horn itself. This has only to be a little bit wider, because skin on the face is usually very thin. Also in your own face, your skin is thinner than your skin somewhere else. And after the horns, I will continue drawing the other details on the face, like the spikes at the jaw. And next up are the eyes and the eye sockets. We see the face partially from the front and partially from the left side, so that means that the right eye is also a little bit visible. And there are ridges above the eye, so I'm creating the help lines for the shades that these are creating. And when we've done that, let's finish up the skin on the belly, which I didn't continue earlier. Again, I work very not in order. And I decided that the nose also receives a spike, horn, spine, whatever you want to call it. And of course she has nostrils. And as in most reptiles, or not even most reptiles, but for instance crocodiles, the teeth are protruding a bit. Not most reptiles. Just act like I didn't say that. Okay, so finally I'm finished the skin and some other details like the pupils, and also the ridges above the eyes receive little spikes